Hey, did you guys see the news? Libertarian Ben Shapiro, who opposes government overreach, has very libertarianly suggested a new libertarian idea. Ben Shapiro says local communities should be able to ban men wearing traditional female clothing in public. Let's go. Liberty. I love liberty. Sure.
Should wearing dresses and skirts be illegal for men in public? If so, should wearing pants for women be illegal in public? Well, pants not so much, because there is a female version of pants that is nearly indistinguishable in many cases from male pants. But men wearing traditional female clothing in public, I think that there's a case that local communities should be able to stop that.
Delusional and completely incoherent. Completely incoherent. This is what happens when you have to pretend that gender and sex are the same thing. You start saying shit like this. You start like, well, you know, we've invented pants that accommodate the biological reality of females, you know. Yeah, it's completely insane. I mean, leaving aside the fact that the reasoning here is delusional, it was always going to go this far. Like, what we're talking about is a return to the anti-cross-dressing laws from decades and decades ago. And the reason they want this is so they can arrest transgender people and put you in camps. I'm sorry. That's it. That's literally it. There's very little nuance to this. The reason anti-cross-dressing laws existed historically was so they could just do that, you know? It's not like they would ever apply these rules fairly or regularly, you know? If some Republican legislature's son wants to, like, cross-dress as a joke for Halloween with, like, 2 coconuts down their chest or whatever, they're not going to get arrested. You know, nobody's going to get arrested for wearing a fedora, a traditionally female article of clothing. Nobody's going to get arrested for wearing a kilt if they're doing some kind of, like, Scottish revivalism thing. They would use this and apply it selectively so that they could just arrest transgender people when they want to. And you know what? If you're queer looking enough, but you're not wearing any articles of clothing that aren't traditionally of your biological sex, they would just arrest you anyway. You think they wouldn't? You think they didn't? You really think the average cop is going to, like, look at your outfit and go like, well, okay, all right, well, you look like a queer, and we hate you, and we want you dead, but, well, technically, all this is above board. No, of course not. The whole point of ultra-authoritarian legislation isn't to explicitly ban everything that they don't want present in society. It's to create arbitrary rules they can use and exercise at their discretion to sort of enact a chilling effect. That's what the point here, the whole point here, is not to explicitly target everything they're going after. Look at what happened in Florida. Florida Pride. Gay Pride Parade canceled in Florida after anti-drag show law passes. It's not an anti-pride law, you hysterical baby. It's not an anti-protest law, you infant. Oh yeah, conservatives are loving this, by the way. Matt Walsh tweeted in support of this. Like all the time, they've been saying, we're not coming after gay people. Like, we're just opposed to grooming and blah, 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 blah. And then Matt Walsh is openly saying, good job, we need more of this. Fully and unambiguously authoritarian, and they're not even making an effort to hide it. And they haven't been subtle about this for a long time. This is just the most overt expression of values that they've been touting for the entire history of modern conservatism. The idea that gay people are all pedophiles and degenerates and that society would be better off if they disallowed any deviant behavior. It's always been like this. But now they have the social power to do stuff like this. You know, it actually does make me wonder what the future of Florida is going to look like. Because right now, people are moving there in droves because it has relatively low prices and relatively low cost of living, and there are industries that are sprouting up there. But what are you going to do when, like, the entire huge portion of gay or gay-supporting Gen Z people don't want to move to states like this? Florida has always been kind of a retirement home, but the latest economic boom in Florida has been because of people moving there. But young people are all gay, and Miami might be better off than, like, rural Florida, but it doesn't change statewide bans. Let the sea take Florida? Yeah, let them return to the sea. That's true. If only. Let's let Ben finish his extremely smart argument. His very smart, very high IQ argument.
Sure, I mean, we have local laws about being naked or indecent exposure, or at least.
There you go. So, we're following the playbook, directly comparing a man wearing a dress or a trans woman in normal human speak to being naked. And it is exactly the same, okay? Having a child view an adult wearing an article of clothing that we have not arbitrarily decided is meant for their gender is exactly like their cock being out. It's exactly the same, bro. Bro, it's the same. Oh, and this is the reason why there is literally no point on fighting them on the kink at pride thing. And this is what I've realized, okay? Because to them, a transgender woman existing in public wearing a dress is like exposing your genitalia to a child. You can't do this we're going to practice like the safe and sane version of public, of public engagement and exposure, because like then they'll realize we're not all like, no. At this point, like I like, seriously, look at what the GOP gets angry at and what they don't. The GOP would rather people rape children than be transgender. That's not a joke. We have Republican representatives literally in-house arguing for child marriage to be preserved in the same breath that they denounce the degeneracy of transgender people. The pedocon theory reigns supreme, my friends, okay? Republicans would rather children than do a lot. Oh, that's true. Republicans would rather children than do, like, basically anything. That's true. Why is this in the clip?
Have I seen Kyle Dunnigan's Fresh Pres of DC, where you're featured as Biden's butler known as Beneford the Butler? I have not seen this.
Why was that included in this clip? Okay. I wish I could, man, I'm never going to have the conversations that I want to have. The problem is, like, man, their arguments are so low IQ, disgustingly stupid Republican arguments. And I'm never going to have the conversation that I want to have, which is where I show them, like, I don't know, King Henry VIII. And I'm like, traditional male clothing. And they have to explain why it's degeneracy today for somebody with a dick to wear a dress. But back then, somebody could wear, like a dress, a poofy neck collar, stockings, high heels, and, like, yeah, some Louis the 14th shit or whatever. And they have to be like, well, biologically, you see, the biology of males back then was different, such that it was different. Actually, it was different. There's nothing here. And by the way, again, they know they're lying. They don't actually think that a man wearing a dress is equivalent to being nude in public. They don't actually think that. If there was some, like, frat boy shenanigans or some Halloween costume shenanigans where a guy was wearing a dress and they were just out in public, Republicans wouldn't care as long as it didn't look gay, as long as the context made it seem like it was a boys being boys situation. They don't actually care. No context would absolve being naked in public. That's illegal no matter what you're doing, I guess, except for some very specific circumstances. Context will absolve you of the wearing dress degeneracy allegations as long as you're not doing it in a homo fashion. Likewise, you're going to see them start arguing that thin t-shirts are probably like a biologically female article of clothing if worn on a trans woman or whatever. Like you're going to see the most insane, like, magical essentialism applied to clothing items in an effort to arrest as many trans people as possible. I always want to reinforce an understanding that they're not being honest and they know it. They don't believe in truth. They don't believe in empiricism. The idea that their values should follow a rigorous set of rules that they have to defend and prove in every situation, it's not the case. That's how we operate, or at the least that's how I try to operate. It's an ideal to strive to. But they have openly rejected that concept. They do not believe in empiricism. They only believe in power. And the only real difference between these people when it comes to how they believe in power is some of them think that we're all dishonest in this fashion and they're just better at it, and some of them know they're the only ones doing it. But in either case, they're still doing it. Some of them believe we should turn the Middle East into glass in the name of Dude, you guys, a lot of you have no idea how mentally ill Americans are. Back after 9/11, like, all across the country on media, like in classrooms, in colleges, on TV, talking about, like, there would literally be like, what should we do in response to 9/11? And somebody would be like, I think we should nuke the Middle East and kill them all. And they'd be like, yeah, that's a good idea. Haha. And that was like normal discourse. People, you don't understand how bad it is here. I was in high school during shock and awe. It was insane. Yeah.